Yeah. So as I say, I wasn't really sure what I was going to do. I know last week we covered like using formulas in the inspector in Unity. And we can always cover that again. Anybody who doesn't know, I'm more than happy to, because it's really, really useful. In fact, you know what? I might not even do this, this thing here. Let's.
You're breaking up real bad.
Yeah, I can't hear a thing.
Wonder what's going on. Hang on.
Yes.
It might be the cable on my headset. Hang on a sec. Well, I'm hoping that's a little bit better. The only other thing I can put it down to is the storms, because the UK is ravaged by storms all over now, just from Storm Dara, basically. We're getting the tail end of it. Wales is having a bit of a hard time. I'm guessing that's probably one of the reasons why there's not many UK people in at the moment. I don't think I even saw Dead Set online, and he's usually in, isn't he? But there's there's just hardly anybody online at the minute. So yeah, I'm guessing it's the storm. So I apologise if we're having a really, really rough time and you really can't understand what I'm saying. We might just have to give it a miss this week. But all I did for this apartment, I didn't do anything fancy. Let's just go to walk navigation so we can have a little walk around. Turn me gravity on. So yeah, wooden door. Got a bit of a breakfast bar thing here. There's a lounge area with a TV and a coffee table, rather nice sofa, some dining furniture, kitchen island, just the pretty standard stuff. But upstairs, it's quite cool. This is just in material view, by the way. We've got a bathroom in here. You can't see it because I'm just in material view, but there is a shower in there. And a bit of a, let's just, come on, why isn't he? Yeah, just pretty standard stuff. And then there's a kind of a work area over here, like of a boardroom kind of area. But yeah, it's nice, and it's something I have been thinking about bringing into Banter at some point. But because it's one of these free things that you can get that's not designed for VR, it takes work. You've got to basically go through every item and optimize it to bring in. And I was going to start doing that, but then I thought, you know what? Let's just have a look in here. This is just Blender Kit that you can, an add-on you can download. And it's got loads of free stuff as well as paid stuff, but loads of free stuff. And if I can find was it called the plant space or planetarium or plantarium? I can't remember. There it is. This is a nice one. Oh, and Blender's crashed. That's nice. Yeah, Blender's crashed now. So just give me a second. I'm gonna use 4.3, which handles it a little bit better, but oh man, 4.3 is so slow on my PC. But yeah, I did actually start bringing it in. Yeah, right, Iron Wolf, and then I deleted the whole thing because I got fed up with it, and then I changed my mind and thought, you know what, I might just start again with it. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I've just chosen scenes. You can actually get free materials and brushes and all kinds of things on here, as well as paid ones. But if you just do free first, then you'll just get all the stuff you don't have to pay for first. And let's have a look for, there it is there. We'll download that. And then to start with, it is quite a nice world, this. It's see, I've got denoise on. Why that's on 1500, I don't know. Let's turn it to 500 for now. But yeah, it's a nice one to work on, and I just used Tree to make a tree. I didn't use this one because it would have just been way too much work to optimize it. So we'll just go back to the standard view, and as you can see, it's just basically circles. So what I would probably start doing, I mean, we could get the ground in easily enough, but isolate that. You can just press / in Blender to isolate the ground. I'm not going to use the whole particle system with the grass and stuff because that's just going to freeze everything up. It's not going to work on a quest. So I'm just going to put a circle in over the top of this and fill it in, and then we can apply a ground texture afterwards. So circle, I want it filled with an end on. That'll do fine. And increase the size a bit, and that'll do. That's going to be my ground. So always make sure that your scale is set correctly. Now, why that's at minus 9.3, I must have scaled it on the negative by mistake. So let's just try changing all of that to 9.3. And then just to be sure, we'll double check that the normals are facing the right way, and they are. Anything that's blue is good, anything that's red is bad. You're not going to see it. So that's all good. And to start with, I've just got an empty scene with my own usual shader that I made for pack channels. And we're just going to put it in there. I've literally just called it scene tut, my tutorial. So F4 to bring up your menu, E for export, F for FBX, and we'll stick it in Banter Projects. What do I call it? Scene tutorial assets, selected objects, and I'm just going to call it ground. And if I go in here, I can drag that in, and there is my ground. So let's start by making a material for it first of all. So we'll go up to, where am I going? Here. And I want to call it, shall I search for ground or search for grass? Ground's quite good. Yeah, let's find something that's kind of grassy or mossy. I quite like this one that looks a bit kind of rough. We'll just get rid of that for now. Yeah, JPG will do, 2K will do, because that'll work on tethered headsets, and we can optimize it for Quest afterwards. So we'll download that. Got it. It's a zip file, so I'll just cut that, go into the Banter Projects, Tut, Assets, paste, and I'll extract everything. Just minimize that for now. I'm going to delete the zip file and then decide what I'm going to use. That's just a representation of the material. We can get rid of that and that and that. We're not going to use displacement, and the normal that Unity uses is OpenGL, so we'll get rid of the DirectX one. Delete them. So we're going to use ambient occlusion, color, normal. I think I'm not going to bother with either, to be honest. We'll just use these. And because I like to, as part of the optimization, I like to combine all my grayscale maps into one texture. I'm going to do that now with the ambient occlusion and the roughness. And anyone who's not familiar, I like to use the acronym ARMS, so I know that the red, green and blue channels have ambient occlusion, roughness and metallic in there. And then I can't get it wrong. I know exactly which one's in which channel. So I know I've covered this before, but I always think it's worth going over things like this because this is one of those really cool things you can do as part of your optimization process. If, for instance, I create a new image and it's just got me what was my background color, which is this blue color. It's obviously made up of different values of red, green, and blue. And we can have a look at each of the channels by going into colors. This is just GIMP I'm using, by the way, because it's free. Colors, components, decompose, and we want to split up RGB. You've got different options here, and the only ones you should probably ever need to use is RGB and RGBA. You can actually have 4 channels. If you're not going to have transparency on your material, you can use that alpha channel to store a 4th grayscale map. But we're just going to do RGB for now. And then here you can see I've got 3 layers on my image, and I can hide each one, and you can see they're all different shades of grey. So you can see by the time, basically each pixel has a value of 0 to 1. 0 being black, as in turned off, and 1 being white. And any value in between there is just anything, as I say, between 0 and 1 will just show up as different shades of grey. And when you put them into the correct channels, you actually end up mixing different values of red, green and blue to get your colours, to get photographs and whatnot. So what we're going to do with this one, I'm just going to close these for now. We'll have a look at the image that I want to pack, which is my ground. And we'll have a look at the sizes. It shows the sizes down here, they're 2K. So we'll create, actually what we'll do, this is the easiest way, just right click, show in Explorer. We can open it with GIMP. And there it is open. And we'll do the same with the other one we're going to pack, which is the roughness. So open with GIMP. Now we've got 2 images open. And we're going to create a new one, which automatically it creates the new image the same dimensions as the ones you've just opened. So 2048, that's fine. And then we're going to decompose, except it's not going to allow me because I decomposed the last one. So we'll just compose it first, get rid of that, and then decompose. And we've got with 3 channels, and using the acronym ARM, we want ambient occlusion in the red, roughness in the green, and there's no metallic on this one, so we're just going to make it black so it's turned off completely. So we'll start off with the red, go to the ambient occlusion image, edit, copy, go to your red channel, edit, paste, and it's as easy as that. And then we can anchor it so it flattens the whole layer. We'll turn that one off and go to the green channel now, which is roughness. So edit, copy, edit, paste, and anchor it. And then in the blue channel, we're just going to make it black. I've already got black chosen. Yep, I have. So I just use my bucket fill and do the black. And then we've got all of those in. We can now compose RGB again. And there's our packed image. And it looks weird, but don't worry, that's exactly what we want. So I'm going to export it as, now the ones I downloaded with JPEGs weren't, so I'll just use the same, JPG. And I'm going to call it, can't remember what it is now. It's just ground, isn't it? I'll just call it ground. Ground packed. So I know exactly what it is. And we want it to go into D, Plant Projects, Scene Tut. Export. So when we go back here, of course I should have put it in there. There's all our materials together. We're not going to use these two because they're packed into this one. We're only going to use these two now. So this one, we need to tell it that it's grayscale. So we'll just turn off the sRGB color texture bit. And then we can create a material. And I'm just going to call it ground. And because I've created my shader already, my arm shader, it's there ready. It's just asking for the main texture and the packed one. So we'll put in that in there and that in there. And pop that on there. And there is our ground. Obviously what I could have done, I didn't even think about it because I always make this new every time. I never reuse my shader. I always do a new one. I should really have some tiling in here perhaps. So texture coordinates, we'll stick that in there.
Lisa, are you recording?
I should be, yeah. Yes, I am.
Okay.
I am.
Yeah, nice. Just checking.
And then we'll just pop a float in there and I'll call this, expose it as a property and call it tiling. And that way we'll just have the default as 1. And that way, when I come to alter the material, rather than having to type the value in 4 times in here for both each texture, I've just got a little slidey thing I can use to adjust my tiling. But we'll fine tune that a bit later on. That's fine. So we've done the ground. Now what I usually do is I'll create a couple of collections. One called, I usually call working, and I move each object into that folder to start with. And then I usually have another one called done. And I know it's finished with. I don't have to bother with it anymore. So that's now in there. And done, I'll just turn that one off so you can't see it. And we'll move that into there as well. So now we can have a look at the first one on my list, because these are all particle systems and lights and cameras, which I'm not going to bother with. We just need the actual objects, and we've got a seal in here. So I'll move that into my working folder. And we'll turn off the main so I can only see what's in my working folder. And I'll start off by separating it by material first of all. So tab for edit mode, select everything, P for separate, and I'm going to separate by material. So I've got 4 items, all with different materials. We'll start off with the first one, and we'll just isolate that with a / button. And I'll now separate it by loose parts, because the reason being is what I want to do is just take one piece and duplicate it in a circle. So I'm not using the same mesh over and over and over. Sorry, I am using the same mesh over and over again. So we're actually using instances of the same item. So to do that, firstly, what I want to do is just make sure that it is.
Hello.
Hello. I
What
just
are y'all
want to
doing?
make sure that it's packed correctly.
Oh, hold on. I gotta respawn.
Right, that's not right. Let's try having a look at something else. I don't think this has actually been unwrapped properly. This is the trouble. So no, it hasn't. Hasn't at all.
Question.
So,
What is going on right here?
This is the Spacemaking for Beginners event. It's on every Saturday.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah. So, because I know that this hasn't actually been unwrapped, I'm just going to get rid of these faces. Was that the right side I needed to get rid of? I don't know now. Yes, it was. And then I'm going to select these two edges and these two edges and mark them as seams. And I can see that there's modifiers on there. I'm just going to get rid of them. Don't need them. So now I should be able to just unwrap it. And that looks way, way, way better. We haven't got any overlapping faces. So we've got that done. Check that my scale's fine. It is, so we can export it. And I've no idea what I'm going to call it. I know it was a piece of the ceiling, so we'll just call it ceiling. And I'll number them 1 to whatever. So we've got that in. We need to give that a material. Now this, this is an emissive material. I thought this was one of the concrete ones. So we'll create a new shader and we'll call it, I think it's got to have a temperature of 4,500 kelvins according to this. Emissions 4,500 K, so that's what I'm going to do. Where was I? So rather than plugging in a colour into the emission node, I'm going to plug in a black body node, which is what you use for colour temperature rather than, an RGB value. We'll plug that into emission. And then I just need a float to define the actual temperature. The default value, at least that black body one, was 1,000, so we'll leave it at that. I'm going to call it property and we're going to call it temperature. And that should, actually, I just want to call that emission, don't I? And we'll create a material. And this one, we're going to call 4,500. Let's just rename this as well. Emission. And it's got to be in the Melissa menu. And then my temperature, well, it's going to be 4,500, obviously. So pop that in there and we'll give it its material. Okie dokie. And then because the origin of this object is right in the center, if I now do a circle, it should be a perfect circle because it'll just be rotating around that central point. So I think, if I remember rightly, there's 30 of these pieces around the edge. So we'll just duplicate it a couple of times. 2, 4, 8, 16, and then if I miss the bottom 2, that should be 30, shouldn't it? And then here in rotation, because the y-axis is the one pointing up in Unity, we need to pop it in Y, and we're going to use L. We're going from 0 to 360, except we're going to have an overlapping one and gaps between them because we need it to go to 1 less than 3. 360 equals is the same as 0 basically, isn't it? So we need it to go to 360 minus 360 divided by 30, which I've literally put that in because it was quicker than me working out in my head that 360 divided by 30 is 12. So we've done that, and now we should have a perfect circle, all using the one mesh. So I'll stick those into an empty parent, and I'll just call it ceiling. And we'll go on to the next one. So I'll just select all of those and move them into me done thing. And then this one next. That one has been unwrapped. I don't know why the other one wasn't, but you know. However, I am going to get rid of these faces because, come on. Because there's absolutely no point having them. I mean, I'm not optimizing perfectly here. It's really just to demonstrate how I would go about it, really. But yeah, any faces that you can't see, that you'll never ever see in a world, you don't need them. It's taken up, especially if you're going to be baking your light maps as well. It's going to take up space in your light maps. It's going to take up processing power. Well, if you use occlusion culling, it won't take up that much processing power because it's never going to render it, but it's still going to take up space in the memory just to hold that information there, even though it's not going to be doing anything with it. So yeah, just get rid of anything that you don't need. So we're just going to pack these again. What's that like? No, that was pretty awful as well. So unwrap it, angle based, that'll do. I've got ceiling 1. I just need to overwrite that, don't I? So there is my ceiling 1. It's got the same material, the 4500. So we'll bring that in and we'll give it its material. And then we do the same thing again. So 0 to 360 minus 360 divided by 30. Well, that hasn't worked, and you know why? Because I didn't duplicate it. You can tell I'm tired. Saturday evenings, honestly. So we need 30 of these as well. 2, 4, 8, 16, and 30. There we go. And we'll call that one ceiling 1. I don't know why, I should probably just stick it all in the one group, but never mind. So we've got that far. I'll move all of them in to there. Next, this one here. So again, separate by material. Doesn't look like there are any other materials except concrete anyway, so separate by loose parts. And we'll start off from the edge here. We'll just use this bit here. And again, go to UV editing. We'll pack it. That's looking okay. And we need a concrete texture for this one. Check my scale is fine. We'll call this one Sealant 2. Now this is where I was saying make sure that your normals are pointing the right way. If it's red, this would be the red side in Blender. So face orientation, you see, well, this is red. The normals are pointing out away from the blue sides. So if I was to flip round to the other side, I can see it perfectly, but you can't see it from the side that's red because you only see, it only renders the bits, the normals that are actually within your view that are pointing towards you, basically. So let's have a look for a concrete texture. Concrete. I don't want one with seams. I want one that's seamless, but that's a bit dark. Not sure about that one. That one kind of looks okay. Maybe use that one. I quite like that one as well. Anything that's got too much of a lot of pattern though, just remember you will eventually see a pattern repeat by the time you tile over large surfaces. So I try to avoid anything that's obvious. That one looks pretty random. So we'll download that. Again, cut it, go into D, Phantom Projects. Unzip it. Minimize that for now. Delete that. And close that. Right, so we don't want that or that or that. Don't want displacement. I'm not going to use normals. So again, it's just the colour and the roughness for this one. So I don't need to, do I need to pack it? Yes, I do. So we'll just close everything in GIMP for now. Oh, it's not what I wanted. Open with GIMP. And we'll create a new image. And we'll decompose. And it's doing it again. I don't know why it does that. It's just bizarre. Decompose. Okay. And then the image that I've got is roughness. So ambient occlusion is going to be white because we don't want any dark areas baked into the image at all. So we'll just make it white. Flood fill that. Roughness, so ARM, roughness is green. Get our roughness image, copy and paste and anchor it. And then metallic, we don't want any metallic at all, so that's got to be black, which is basically the same as turned off, value of 0. So that's that. We'll just close these. And this one, I'm going to compose. RGB, and export it. And we're going to export it into the same place. I wish it would save the last folder you used. It doesn't, which is annoying. Concrete. And I'm just going to replace colour with packed. So now we've got that. We'll do create, material. We'll choose the arm shader and we can pop in the colour and packed. And this one, we need to tell it it's grayscale. And we'll just call that concrete. So let's go around the other side. See what that looks like. That'll do nicely. And again, there's 30, should be 30 of these as well. So 2, 4, 8, 16. Miss off the last 2, so we've got 30. And there we go, there's the first ring. So you can see how it's all kind of coming together. I am going to, because some of these are different, so we'll just select all of these. Move them into done. And we'll take this one. Just double check the UVs. Call it ceiling 3. Come on. What on earth have I done? Oh. Ceiling 3. And you can see there, it's actually occupying the same space as another. So we'll sort that in a minute. But there's only 10 of these, I think. Let's have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, there's 10 of them. So we'll stick the same material onto it, which is my concrete material. And 2, 4, 8, and then another 2, 10. We'll go. And this one, a little bit different. 0 to 360 minus 360 divided by 10. Well, obviously. So there we go. We'll hide that one and just delete the one that's in its place. And the same here. Okay, so we'll bring all of those ones back. Now we've got the ones with all the slots in. And like I say, because we haven't actually made one huge mesh, we haven't joined anything. We've used the smallest mesh we possibly can. I mean, it's not really, there's lots of optimization I could do in Blender first, but for the time being, I'm just using it as it is. We've used the one item and we've just reused it again and again and again. So you can see ceiling 198, ceiling 198, ceiling 198. It's all the same mesh that we're using there. Create an empty parent. Now why is that saying that one should be ceiling 2? 3, this is, I don't suppose it matters, but there you go. Come on. What the heck is wrong with me tonight? Ceiling 3, there we go. So I'll just take all of these and stick them into my done folder. Now, a lot of these I could actually be joining together because this is a bit ridiculous, all these tiny little pieces. But I'm not going to for now. Let's just take one of these. We'll do one more. And then, in fact, shall we? I don't know. Maybe what I'll do is have a look in done and find me ground. Except it's the circle. And we'll have a look. See, I never did fix the scale on that either. Never mind. We'll redo it in a second. Scale done. So it's 18.6 meters across, basically. So we'll just get rid of the ground there because we're going to re-export it. Okay. So what we could do is maybe make something that we can put on the ground, like, just get rid of that. You know what it is. This is driving me mad today. Right, I'm just going to add in. Do I have my rock generator? Yes, I do. Rock generator. We'll bring that up. And we'll have another one. And another one. So we've got a few different rocks to use. This is just so I can see them a little bit better. I want to get rid of a lot of these modifiers because they're way too high poly. Let's turn on wireframe. See, that's not bad just as it is without anything else on there. So I wonder if I should delete them all or... No, I shouldn't delete them all. Let's apply them all and then just unsubdivide. So we need a decimate modifier, unsubdivide. There we go. That'll do. And apply that. We'll do the same with the others. Right, so we've got 3 different rocks. We'll start off by exporting. This is going to be rock 1. Rock 2. And rock 3. And I'll bring all 3 of them in. And you know what, I'm just going to stick the concrete material on them for now because I can't be bothered to be looking for another. None of them have been unwrapped, which is not good. I should have done that. So I'll just do a smart UV project, why not? I don't recommend you do this for anything really, smart UV project, because it's not that great. It's useful for complex organic shapes that are just too difficult to unwrap, but honestly, it's way better to unwrap your stuff by hand properly. So let's start again. Export rock 1, rock 2, and rock 3. See what that's like. There we go. Now we can see a texture on them. So if I select these, duplicate them a few times, and then we can start scattering them about as well. So instead of L, we're going to use R for random. And I can't remember what size the ground was now. What was it again? 18.6 meters. So we're going to do random minus 9.3 to 9.3 because my origin isn't in the center. We'll do that, and that scattered them randomly along the x-axis, and along the z we'll do the same. Random minus 9.3 to 9.3. That was a bit far, wasn't it? Did say 18.6, didn't it? Why has it gone to 9.3? Never mind. Wonder why that is. Did I type it in wrong? I wonder. Anybody know? Was anybody paying attention? Never mind. I'm just going to move these in.
Is it relative to the world or relative to the object?
Well, it shouldn't make any difference because the world origin is the same, exactly the same point as the origin point of the circle, which is why the circle is shown at position 0, 0, 0. Its origin point is there. So it makes no difference whether I'd specified with the rocks if it was using world space or object space. In this instance anyway. But it doesn't matter, I've moved them across anyway. So I've got some rocks. I want to adjust the size a little bit. Now, unfortunately, I can't do it like across all 3 axes at the same time. So I'm just going to use X to start with. and we want it to be, it's at scale 100 at the moment, so we'll say from scale 10 to maybe 90, I don't know, something like that. And it has adjusted them, it's made them all a bit skinnier. But if I wanted them to be in perfect proportion, this is what I would have to be doing, is going through every single one. Because unless I use scripting, I don't think there's a way of doing this like having it generate one random number and then using it on all axes. If anybody knows of a way, I would really like to know. But for now, we're just doing this. And because the origin of every rock was at its centre as well, they've now all got to be adjusted to make sure they're not levitating like this one is. So just literally sit them on the ground. Now, they're all the same as well. They're all pointing the same way, which is a bit nah. So I'm going to do some random rotation on all of them, I think. So random, I don't know, 0 to 350, say. And we'll do the same here. And that should be making them all look a little bit different as well. So not only are they slightly different sizes, but they're slightly different rotations. Oh. So with a bit of luck, unless you really know, if you're looking for it, you wouldn't normally be able to tell that you've actually only got 3 rocks in here. Because we've tried to make them look, each one a little bit different. Yeah, I don't think that looks bad with a few rocks scattered about. And they do look different because I've got all different sizes and stuff as well. We haven't got loads of these pointy ones all pointing the same way, and yeah, that's not bad. So anyway, I know I've gone into a bit more, you know, gone over this again. We only did it, was it last week or the week before, about using the formulas in the inspector. But it is so cool. It really is so cool, and will be such a time saver for you if you can get to grips with using this regularly. Like I say, you don't have to do circles, you can do lines. You know, I might want to just, I don't know, take 5 of these rocks, reset them, make them all 100 again. So there should be 5 of them in the middle. And I could just put them, actually, let's do it on the Y for fun. From 0 to 5 meters, And we've now got a line of rocks 5 meters high, using those 5 rocks we've just done. So if you can imagine you're making a fence, all you have to do is create one fence panel, and you can use this to just spread it all out exactly how long you want your fence. And yeah, it's awesome. It is such a time saver. So I'm going to continue, unless anybody has anything particular they would like to cover next week. I'll continue with this next week. And if we can get some walls in and some nice lighting, we'll upload it and have a little walk around. I think that would be cool. But yeah, it's 1 minute to, and basically this week all you've been doing is just watching me doing stuff I wanted to do, because I didn't know what you wanted to do this week. So if anybody's got any suggestions or anything you'd like us to go over or explain, or if you want me to go into shaders a bit more next week, or we can do a bit more shader forge if you want, with shader graph not working. I don't know if it's fixed yet on Quest, so I'm assuming it's not, and shader forge is a nice free alternative to Amplify. We can do that again. We can make some more shaders with that.
Yeah.
Whatever you like. But yeah, we'll leave it at that for now because it's 8 o'clock, and I'm almost certain there's an event starts at 8 on a Saturday, isn't there? Yes, Speaker's Corner has just started. So I shall leave it there for now.
I have a question. And it's actually a Three-Eyed Tiger that she had in one of her worlds. She did something and everything the frames just dropped. Is there an easy way to find out what is doing that?
Good question. I don't really know. The best thing to do, I know there's a debugging system in Unity, but to be honest, I've never needed to use it because I've never really had any problems. The only time I've ever had problems with frame rates tanking was when people created 3D text in Blender and brought it in without doing any optimization, because that is an absolute killer. But that was the only thing that I've ever had an issue with. Without actually looking at the Unity file, or the Blender file if it's made in Blender, or the shader if there's some wacky shaders doing some weird stuff, it's really hard to say. My advice, because I've never used the debugging system in Unity, I've never needed to yet, so I've never learned. I'm one of these people that learns as I go along. If I need to do something, I'll learn how. There will be something on YouTube. I would highly recommend having a look on YouTube for the checking your performance in Unity, basically. I have seen videos, and there will and so I know there's stuff there that's really useful. That's all I can recommend right now, but it's something I'm happy to look into if you want for next week. I mean,
yeah, now I know the Three-Eyed Tiger solved the problem, but next time.
Yeah, see, there's lots of things that can cause it. I mean, if they're building in A-frame, then that can be problematic. I don't even think A-frames, well, we shouldn't be using it anyway. If it's built in Unity, then we should be using occlusion culling for everything. Always use occlusion culling, bake it. And if you don't, you see what your headset's trying to do is render absolutely everything in the scene, whether or not your camera is looking at it. If there are things behind you, your headset's still going to be trying to, or things behind a wall, your headset's still going to be trying to render it, even though it's behind a wall. bake your occlusion culling and only render the stuff that you actually see, that's actually in your field of vision. And
View.
that is, yeah, exactly. That is a huge thing. The other thing is textures as well. Keep your textures as small as possible on headset. Quite often you'll get textures that are like 4K, which are, I mean, I don't even use 4K textures for me skyboxes normally. I use a maximum of 2K for PC, and then where possible I'll reduce to like 512 pixels if I can for Quest. If it's going to look really janky and it's, for instance, got text you need to read, I'll increase it to 1K, but that's the maximum I'll go. So yeah, textures is a huge thing as well. And then just check how dense the meshes are. You know, try and keep them as simple and as low poly as you possibly can. Get rid of bevels. That's one of the things that really does me head in. Just do away with those bevels. You don't need them all most of the time. That's about it, really.
Thank you so much, Lisa.
No problem.
Yeah, I need to go offline. Have a nice night, everyone. Bye-bye.
Yes, thank you. Bye-bye. I'm going to end the recording now, and this will be up online a bit later.